Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Anna, after website The Russian Vagabond, and in this channel I'm talking about life in Germany and Austria as a foreigner. Today I'm going to be talking about some German tradition and customs from a foreigner point of view, of course, and what I personally have experienced here in Germany. The first, for my opinion, Germany has a very intense culture, and where Germans are very aware of their traditions, of their past, and especially about the Christian traditions, because the biggest part of the population here are Christians or Protestants, so they celebrate a lot of Christian holidays, and I noticed that they are quite religious. In comparison to Russia, people are less religions, and we also have less traditions and less customs. So therefore, Germany has a lot of tradition related to religion, and some other tradition related to beer and just culture events. Many of them happens around Christmas time, or Ostern in Germany, and Easter in English. So there are the most holidays that happens, and people celebrate and they follow the traditions. All over the year there are a lot of happenings in Germany, and a lot of celebrations, and some days when you follow some tradition, you have to do something by following this custom. The most important and also famous custom is Carnival, or Fasching, in the beginning of the year, which also known for foreigners because they come to see and celebrate together with Germans. Actually, it starts already in November, and 11 November and 11 o'clock. People start to celebrate, and the carnival is lasting till the beginning of March or till the end of February. It's a Rosenmontag. Then people celebrate really hard for 2 days. Usually it happens only in the north of Germany and in the west. So it's Düsseldorf, Cologne and Mainz. In Cologne, maybe you have heard already, Cologne has the biggest carnival. There the people are dressing in costumes, and we celebrate for 2 days in a Rosenmontag. Nobody is working, kids don't go to school, so everything is shut down. We celebrate the carnival and drinking, of course. Before, in a 13th century, because this carnival came from really a old age, so it's from 13th centuries. Before, it was celebrated as a way to to celebrate the end of the fast. There was a 6-week fast, and people just celebrated with a lot of food and just eat and drink a lot. That was the previous history of this. But today people just like to dress up in a different kind of costumes. So you can see in the pictures, it's very interesting just to watch. That's why people just standing in the city, and it's line of the parade, it's a line with the people in costumes, it's going through the entire city, and so entire day. But also south of Germany and Switzerland and Austria has some kind of carnival. It's called Fastnacht, but it's celebrated differently. So people dress themselves in costumes of scary costumes of some monsters and the witches to scare the winter. It happens also in the beginning of the March or in the end of February. So people are going also through cities and villages in these costumes to scare the winter, and it's more, of course, artistic. I will show you the pictures. So it's totally different than in the north of Germany, but still people celebrate and they scare the winter. And of course, Germans celebrate Christmas. It's a huge tradition for them, and people came up together with a family, and they have a dinner. They celebrate actually for 2-3 days, and each evening we spend with different families in different houses. And it's very important because we in Russia, we don't celebrate Christmas, we celebrate only New Year. So this was very new for me, and a very different way to celebrate, because it's very quiet, people sitting at home, nobody doing this party. Easter is of course very important, or Ostern in Germany, because they are Christians, so they celebrate it also each year, and it's free, of course, people are not working, just celebrating, and very thoughtful, very mindful about what happens. So people are with their families, thinking and celebrating. Also different, because in Russia we celebrate this in one day, but Germans celebrate like Kaffeetag. Then Easter, we have several days of Easter. That's why many people don't work for several days and they just celebrate or have maybe holidays. The other tradition also Weihnachtsmarkts or Christmas market. Already 1 month before of the Christmas, in 25th of November, there are in each city Christmas markets opening. Maybe you already had been or have seen. So there are many vendors, and as well as food and drinks like glühwein or like spicy wine, grog. So people go almost each day after work to have some wine, maybe to shop. You can buy a lot of handwerk, like crafts goods, so from people who made it, and also just spend time with the friends. It's a good place to meet up. And so you prepare yourself also for Christmas, because Christmas market create this Christmas atmosphere. You know, it's all like shiny and winter, so you prepare yourself, you're already in the mood. And then in the last day before the Christmas, it's closed, and basically when it's Christmas time, there are no open Christmas markets. We all close, and you just celebrate at home with your family. The other some important customs is the Mother Day and Father Day. They are in separate days. So for Mother Day, it's usually the woman will receive the presents from the kids, so from her kids of course, and family goes to the restaurant to have some dinner on this day. And on the Father Day, the tradition that fathers together with other fathers, they organize some trips. So we do usually the food trip. We go by foot somewhere and they enjoy their day together. It's a lot of drinking usually, and just, you know, like the guys come together to talk about guys things for entire day. And it's beautiful because it's in the summer, it's warm, so they are somewhere in the nature most of the time and just enjoying and drinking, all good. The other important factors of German culture and traditions is that German very appreciate and very value the family and community. So they usually spend a lot of time with their family. They don't like to separate much, so they prefer to maybe live in one city or close by, so they can always visit family. And they also like to spend their weekends with family. So we have some lunch together. It's very common to have a Sunday lunch at like a mother home. So they come there with maybe already their family and meet the parents. It's very important to visit your parents and not be far away. You know, to call your parents, to just have this connection with your family. This is also what I noticed, because in Russia it's maybe less, so we are less connected because we try to be independent and maybe push the family in a second place. We also move a lot, so people tend to move to the bigger cities, leaving the family behind really far away, somewhere in Siberia, where you don't really visit them that often because it takes like forever to get there. So I really like these traditions, and also the tradition of community, because people here, they value community, the feeling of community. They try to integrate themselves in a village where they live. They try to support each other. There are a lot of clubs in the villages where they can volunteer, so they can be together with other locals from this village to work on something, to develop the village, maybe to help the church, because also there are communities around churches in the villages. They try to just help the community, this village. Also cities have these traditions. They have communities. Each city has districts where people try to involve in a community. They would like to also be more in a closer relationship with the neighbors. If you're living in a village especially, you most of the time have a good relation with neighbors. And also in the city, it's not uncommon. If in Russia, we don't even know who our neighbors are, because it's not really important. Community is a little bit less. And I really appreciate this because Germans put a lot of time and effort to develop these communities, to just work there. You know, we do a lot of volunteer work. They invest their money and time in, for example, their village, to open something in their village, to develop infrastructure. And it's very fascinating that people as a private person investing your time in this. The next one is that Germans very also value gender equality. So we want that, of course, women and the man have the same rights, the same level in the society. So they very cautious about this. They very respect each other, and there are nothing like unrespect to women or undervalue of women. They try also to get the same salary each year. It's more or less getting to the same. So it's improves each year that women and men can get paid the same salary, but still the man earns more than the woman for some reasons. But apart of this, there are really good balance between women and men and their rights. Also noticed that Germans really like to travel. They are very curious about other countries. They like international travels, and in fact Germans travel more than other European countries. They spend more money than any other country in Europe. And when I travel, I very often see Germans and how we're traveling, exploring, and I really like this mentality of exploring new countries, new cultures. Next one is the coffee and kuchen culture, or coffee and cake. So there are traditions that in the afternoon it's normal to have some cake with the coffee, or meet for a cake and coffee with your friend. Most of the time in the afternoon, and also often on Sundays. So if you are in a Sunday in the afternoon in a town, you will see a lot of cafes full with the people who are having this coffee and cake. If talking about food and drink, food is more about meat and potatoes and also bread. It's the main components of them, of the food, of the German foods, but also many vegetables. So it's quite diverse. Each region has different foods, and of course beer. So alcohol consumption is fairly high here, because alcohol is the beer, it's the next bread. The beer, it's a Grundnahrungsmittel in Germany. Yeah, Germans like to have a beer with their meals. They like to go for a beer or just have beer at home. And sometimes we also drink wine, more or less. It's for a woman. Guys prefer to drink beer. I think bread, it's also very big a part of the German culture and has a very big importance for Germans. I don't think we will survive without bread. There are, what I noticed, there are the meat, potatoes and bread, and of course beer. I also noticed that Germans like to go out for food. They like dining out with their friends or family. It's not uncommon when you're in a city and you will see in the evening many restaurants are full and also bars are full. So there are really strong habits for going out for a food or for a drink in the evening after work. When in Russia we do it less. We eat more often at home than Germans, and when Germans eat at home, they would like to go for a drink in the bar, or sometimes they like to do both. That was all for today. All traditions and customs of Germany, German history and German culture. It's very rich, of course, it's very old, and if I would go in details, it would be a very long video. So for today it's all, and I hope you liked this. Don't forget to subscribe to support me, and I will see you in the next video.